Hello, my loves. I am back from vacation, and yes, I am still kind of sick. I am much better than I was, though. So I am so ready to get back to work and get back into my regular schedule. It is still going to be a little bit crazy until my daughter goes back to school. Summer break is always just very, very busy in this house. So my schedule is still going to be kind of wonky, but it'll start to even out once we get into like mid-August. Today we are going to be reading a viewer submission. So they had pointed out in the email that they were actually talking about their narcissistic aunts, and they didn't know if I would read it. I just want to let you guys know it doesn't matter where the issues that you had in your childhood came from, whether it was from your parents, from your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, Joe Schmo down the street. I will read your guys' emails. I'm not going to just, oh, this is an aunt. No, get rid of that. I wouldn't do that. All right. So that intro was long enough as it is. Let's get into it. Hey, sick and tired. Call me Horse Feathers. Love your videos. And although I don't normally do this, I thought I might send my own story in because they can be fun to laugh at in that way where sad, angry things can be funny once we get some distance. Kind of like funny in hindsight, I suppose. I know you normally deal with narcissistic and entitled parents, but I'm blessed to not have those. My parents are far from perfect, but they did the best they could. I think their biggest issue was thinking they had to be parents because that's what adults do. They grow up and have kids, and yet my parents were very career oriented, and while they did try to be there for me and my sister, they couldn't always be. Hence the gaggle of women who love to remind me who really raised me, my aunts. I have 5 aunts, all my dad's sisters, Catholic family. Whoa, 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 whoa. Holy moly, your dad has 5 sisters? It's a big family. My dad was the middle child and the only son to have kids. Also, he had the misfortune of being the only one to have only daughters, too. Misfortune, which somehow put big giant red bullseyes on me and my sister's heads. More me than my sister, but she got some of it too. I'm the eldest and autistic, but I wasn't diagnosed until I was 35. So that was 35 years of being called weird, stubborn, lazy, selfish, and stupid. Although I have 5 aunts, I'm mainly going to talk about 3 here. And I know I go between aunt and aunt, it just depends how I say it. Sometimes I want to sound fancy, and sometimes I just don't care.
They should call you SpongeBob Fancy Pants!
The oldest, Aunt O, the baby sister, Aunt B, and the mom, but not my mom, Aunt M. Okay, so the oldest, Aunt O, the baby, Aunt B, and the mom, but not my mom, the mom of the aunts. I'll start with Aunt O because she's funny in a sad way. Aunt O is the oldest of 7 kids. Oh my gosh. And never lets any of them or us forget it. I am unfortunately a lot like Aunt O, bookworm, socially awkward, and the oldest daughter. We also both like animals more than people. So tell me why out of all my aunts, I get along with her the least. I grew up never wanting to be anything like Aunt O, despite somehow being eerily like her. She was left at the altar and never married and became an elementary school teacher. Left at the altar. Oh my gosh. I also never married. I don't know how to say that. Represent. And became a teacher against my better judgment. Like, even as I'm listing this out, I can't believe I don't get along with this woman. But when I tell you she hated me, I mean she hated me. As the eldest daughter in a large extended family, everything, and I mean everything, was my fault. I get it. You think this woman would cut me some slack since she should know how it feels, but no, not even. I was expected to be the babysitter for all my cousins from the age of 8 onward. And if anything went wrong, even if I wasn't in the room, this woman would seek me out to scream at me. Story time. Watching TV one day while my baby cousins were running laps around the bottom floor of the house as toddlers do. They repeatedly run through the room where all the adults are sitting and chatting. Their moms are in that room, mind you. I'm just minding my own 14-year-old business, watching Pokemon, when I hear the telltale smack of 2 kids colliding, followed shortly by dual screams. I'm not too concerned since the collision clearly happened in the room with the adults. So tell me why Aunt O came flying in like a bat out of hell.
Why weren't you watching them?
Huh? She snatches the remote out of my hand and hits the power button.
If you weren't watching this, all the time, maybe they wouldn't have gotten hurt.
Wait, you're blaming me?
Of course I am. Why weren't you watching them? Why didn't you tell them to stop?
But they're moms. Their moms are right there. Why is it my job to...
I shouldn't have to explain it to you. You should know by now. How old are you?
I'm 14. A kid? I didn't know I was babysitting. This was a fun, frequent occurrence. It didn't help that Aunt O adored one of my baby cousins and thought she could do no wrong, despite being one of the worst behaved of the cousins. She's not a bad kid though, and grew up to be a sweet person, so it's not her fault she was chosen as the golden child. So if she did anything wrong, it was my fault somehow. I remember one time, I was college aged by this point, the golden child kept running into my room at night, turned on all the lights, jumping on my bed that I was sleeping in, giggling, and then running out again. Oh my, that would drive me insane. I'd be mad. Are you serious? After about the third time Golden Child did this, Aunt O marched into my room, turned the light back on to yell at me to stop encouraging Golden Child to misbehave. I literally sat up in my bed, stared at her and said, "I'm not encouraging anything, I'm sleeping. Why don't you get the kids under control? You're the adult." When she tried to keep yelling at me, I cut her off with, "I am sleeping." I know it doesn't look like it, Aunt O, because someone keeps coming in and turning on my lights and yelling at me. Anyway, repeating myself over and over eventually did the trick, and she finally left me alone. My favorite is when Golden Child slapped my plate of food out of my hand at a barbecue and then laughed at me. Oh no, 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 no. It would take everything I had to not lose my shit, probably on both the child and the parent, if that happened to me. When I was on the floor trying to clean it up, Aunt O came into the room, clutching her pearls and gasping at the mess. When I told her what had happened, she goes, and I shit you not,
Well, you must have told her to do that.
I slowly turned to look up at her and had to ask her to repeat herself. When she did, I followed it up with all my years of pinup autistic sarcastic fury. Oh no, you're so right, Aunt O. I definitely told Golden Child to slap the food out of my hand because I thought it would be fun to eat it off the floor like a fucking dog. Oh my gosh, I bet that felt so good. That was the first time I ever talked back to her, but the look on her face was worth it. I think even she had to realize in that moment that she was picking on me. She probably never knew why she did that, but she had to admit, oh yeah, that makes no sense. Why am I the asshole? Yeah, she's the asshole. Anyway, on to the less fun stories now. Aunt B lived up the street from us and was my babysitter from the ages of 6 to 15-ish. And I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder, mostly due to genetics and autism. But I believe some of it came from the emotional abuse she put me through. While Aunt O hated me, Aunt B hated me and had access to me 24/7. She forced me to take naps until I was 8 years old because she didn't want to deal with me, and then proceeded to gaslight me when I was older and thought my little sister needed to still take naps at 6 years old.
Only babies take naps,
She told me while I went to pull my hair and scream in the corner. Then why the heck was I still taking naps at 8? Any of you guys still take naps? I'm not a napper. You will know if I am very, very sick or extremely tired, like beyond what should be, if I'm napping, because I can't sleep during the day. I don't know why. She'd make fun of me and my sister for watching baby. She actually put on Blue's Clues, proceeded to berate my sister and I for still watching it in elementary school. I will not tolerate any Blue's Clues slander.
We are gonna play Blue's Clues, cause it's really fun, yeah.
She made us stand there in shame while she ripped the show in front of her teenage... Wait, she put it on and then turned it on. Okay. She made us stand there in shame while she ripped the show in front of her teenage son and his friends, saying things like,
"This is what your cousins watch. What a bunch of babies."
She called us assholes and babies all the time, and she purposefully starved us while telling us she was keeping us from getting fat. My dad would drop us off at 5 a.m. to go to work, which meant we would eat at 4 a.m. and not eat again until 12. Oh my gosh. No snacks, because snacks are for fatties. She doesn't know that you guys could snack on, if she's so worried about it, you can snack on things like fruit or, you know, good snacks. I don't know any other healthy snacks other than fruit. Beef jerky? I don't know. I'm a protein girl. I'm a big time meat eater. We were scared to ask for food because we knew she'd scream at us. I remember sitting in the stairwell, starving, wishing I could ask for something to eat, but knowing if I asked too early, she'd scream. My sister and I would wait until 12 on the dot before we'd come upstairs for food. Even a minute earlier would get us in trouble. And if we rushed up the stairs, she'd call us pigs because only pigs would be that eager to eat. This woman's just a Bitch. Let me add, this woman was overweight. Oh, how ironic. Actually, it's not ironic at all. Makes perfect sense. My mom is also very overweight, and yet she's always telling everybody what they should and shouldn't eat. Like even my incredibly skinny sister, who's not quite so skinny anymore because she's pregnant. She got belly. So cute. She'd force us, she's still skinny though. I hope she's not watching this going,
You bitch.
she'd force us to go on 4-hour-long walks with her in the summertime because she couldn't leave us at home. No water, but she had a water bottle. She was exercising, so she was allowed water. We were just kids, so we would be fine, she said. That's cruel. That could be considered child endangerment, right? Especially if you live somewhere like out here. Also, if my mom or dad were late picking us up, she'd make dinner for her and her family, but nothing for my sister and I. We'd be forced to watch while her family ate dinner, but not allowed to have any because our parents would feed us. This woman is just a demon. She's just evil. You might think, she's kind of a horrible babysitter, but she was probably just grumpy being forced to babysit all the time. What a thankless job. No, I'm not thinking that at all. I'm thinking what a monster she is to have children go walking outside for 4 hours in the heat in the dead of summer and not give them any water and starve them. She's legit awful. Well, my dad paid her, and not a little either. He paid her the same rate as the local daycare center and increased it anytime she asked. He made sure she was fairly compensated to have a TV babysit us and her to toss a few sandwiches at our heads come lunchtime. I actually told my mom everything that was happening. I think that might be why I may have less trauma about this time than my sister does. My mom believed me and fought for me, but unfortunately my dad did not. Aunt B was his favorite sister, and unfortunately my dad and I did not have the best relationship. He was convinced I was making it up because I wanted both him and mom to stay home with me instead, which I mean, I did. What kid doesn't? I also had issues with a previous daycare, so my dad was seeing patterns and starting to think that I was the issue. It didn't help that my autism often led to me being seen as a problematic and difficult child who cried at the drop of a hat. So mom believed me and listened to me and was my shoulder to cry on, but I stayed in my Aunt B's care for my whole childhood. I wish my mom would have just taken me out of the situation herself, but she's always been passive when it comes to my father. It's one of the things I still don't understand about my mom to this day. How she can know something is wrong but won't rock the boat. A big question a lot of us have that suffered from childhood trauma. You always hear it. And it's not just a cliche or a stereotype. A lot of times the dad is being an asshole and the mom's kind of just standing by watching or barely interjecting. I don't know. Anyway, this has a semi-bittersweet ending. My Aunt B was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and we later discovered her mood swings and cruel behavior towards my sister and I were actually very influenced by her medication. Once her thyroid was removed, her behavior just drastically changed. She went from wicked witch to sweet elderly grandma. This change happened right when I stopped being babysat by her, so I didn't get to benefit from the change as much as my sister had. Suddenly, she was giving candy out to us anytime we visited, making sure we always had something to eat and drink while we were there. She also completely stopped cursing. It was like night and day. See what can happen when you get help? And I'm talking to all the people out there that need to hear it, not you guys that are getting help, which I know is a lot of you. I found out years later that she went out day drinking with one of my cousins. While drunk, she broke down into tears and confessed that she knew she had my sister and I for years and felt absolutely horrified by her behavior, but that she was terrified to ever ask for our forgiveness because she didn't think she deserved it. That sounds like kind of a cop-out, but I don't know. I was relayed all by my cousin, who was really hoping I'd reassure my aunt that she actually wasn't abusive. I think I surprised my cousin by saying, well, I'm glad she acknowledged it. Wish she would have come to me to confess, though, because I refuse to forgive her until she can apologize to my face. Good for you. I agree. In truth, I'm not actually that angry with Aunt B. I think karma got her in a lot of ways, but I still stand by what I said. I won't offer her anything unless she can tell me to my face that she knows what she did was wrong. Okay, still with me? I am totally still with you. Not sure all of this would even fit in one video. Oh, I'll make it fit. Hope you are, because here's Aunt M. I don't have many stories about this aunt. She's the mother to one of my favorite cousins formerly, not really close to any of my cousins today. She is more of an example of how most of the aunts treated me. I didn't always get along with kids my age. I liked hanging out with adults. Not that I wanted to be an adult, I just felt like they treated me better. Honestly, with my track record with my aunts, I have no idea why I thought that. And now as an adult, I get along with kids better. I can never win. Anyway, this is when my Aunt M broke my heart and proved to me that my family family did not care about me all that much. I was turning 8 years old, but shared my July birthday with one of my younger cousins. Aunt M's son, in fact. Hey, my daughter's birthday is in July too. Fun fact, I now share my birthday with 3 different cousins. Very weird. But at this time, only one cousin shares my birthday. Not that weird. I feel like I know a lot of July birthdays. A lot of people must be getting busy once the kids go back to school, you know what I mean? My Aunt M decides to take us to the toy store to pick out our birthday presents. She tells me her son and her daughter, whose birthday is in April by the way, no idea why she was getting anything, that we could all tell her one toy and she'd get it for us. I told her I wanted a Stacy doll. I had my heart set on it. But I said honestly, any Barbie doll would be fine if we can't get a Stacy. Kelly or Barbie too. Just no boy dolls. Especially don't get me a Todd doll. Todd? That sounds so familiar. So flash forward, time to open gifts. I open my gift and lo and behold, I get a Todd doll. Why? Not only that, as I'm holding back tears, I watch as my cousin, whose birthday it wasn't, opened up a Stacy. Trying to keep it together, I asked my cousin if we could trade, because on the way to the toy store, I remember her saying that she would love to have a Todd doll, that she didn't have any boy dolls. I thought maybe our dolls got switched on accident, and maybe this was actually supposed to be hers. She takes one look at my doll, looks back at Stacy, and says,
No, I changed my mind. I want to keep Stacy.
it's not her fault. Unless she told her mom, like over and over, I want a Todd doll, I want a Todd doll. Then that's kind of a crappy move, but that's when the parent needs to step in and say, oh no, I mixed these up. You wanted Todd, you're getting Todd. But with what I'm reading, obviously that's not going to happen. Cue the floodgates. I start ugly crying. I have never felt so unheard and disliked in my life. This felt like the ultimate snub. If it weren't for the dumb, confused look on my Aunt M's face, I would have thought it was done on purpose. Everyone starts yelling at me, and I mean everyone. I'm pretty sure I kicked Todd's box or something. Typical little kid temper tantrum. My grandma had me by the arm so fast. She dragged me to the guest bedroom and threw me inside. I remember her screaming at me that she didn't want to see my ungrateful face for the rest of the night. That event destroyed my relationship with my Aunt M and my grandma. I never trusted any of them again. I tore off Todd's head in a fit of anger that night. Felt bad about it later. It wasn't his fault he was an ugly boy. I later used him as my villain doll in my play games, and he came pre-beheaded. Nothing scarier than a bad guy whose head pops off on its own. My grandma died years later. Our relationship was never close, but after that incident, I was afraid of her. I never attempted to repair the relationship, where I have tried to get along with my aunt since then. I wasn't interested in going to the funeral. Anyway, I am pretty sure my grandma was the reason all of my aunts were so horrible, so I'm not even sad. I'm thinking she might have been the source of my family's generational trauma, but since no one in my family will get therapy beyond me and my sister, I guess we will never know. It's just a guess. Well, hopefully you guys can break it. Oh, I realized I never talked about how I'm doing now. I know in your videos you sometimes worry that. So let me add, even if you don't read mine for a video, a little update. I'm good, nice and diagnosed. I continue to have a good relationship with my parents and sister. I have an adorable floofy cat and all the Pokemon plushies an autistic girly could hope for. Oh my gosh, my daughter would be so excited. Anyway, hope you enjoyed my long-winded, dysfunctional fairy tale. Oh, not fairy tale. Sorry. Family tale. It's no narcissistic parent, but I hope it was worth the read. Sincerely, Horse Feathers. Yes, it was very well written, and I don't really mind if your guys' stories are long. You can write them as long as you want. You'll get a whole video like this dedicated to you. I'm sorry about what happened with your aunts. There is so many things in here that, oh my gosh, I would have been so furious. The barbecue plate, Barbie thing in the end. I don't blame you for never wanting anything to do with them. I really don't blame you. Thank you so much for writing. I'm glad that you're doing really, really well. I would say please update us, but you already did. So thanks for that. So guys, don't forget to leave her some words of encouragement down below. If you would like to share your story about your crazy family, you can email me at samanthafisher1984@gmail.com. Until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you all so much. Bye.